Okay, so hi.
Hi.
It's Katie.
Good morning.
So, this kind of series we've been talking about completing the family, and I wanted to talk to Katie because Katie's on the other end of the spectrum. So tell us a little bit about your journey and wanting to complete your family.
Well, my journey is interesting, and I think that there's a little background information that might be necessary. I actually never wanted children. No, I don't. I think that Florence heard that for the first time.
Yeah. So, when you grew up, you weren't like, I'm going to have 2 kids and name them Bobby, Joe, and whatever.
No, not at all.
Okay.
And I had this lovely woman in my life who said, I think maybe there's a possibility that could change for you. And I was like, I don't know about this. And she said, just be open that as you age, your mind might change. Maybe it won't, maybe it will. And it did.
Was there any reason why you didn't want children at that time? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, if you were a babysitter at 13 and you're like, these kids get on my nerves. I don't want my, you know what I mean? Was there something in particular that you were like, I just don't want kids?
I'm an only child. And so I know only childness. And so I didn't always know how to interact with younger kids because I mean, all of my peer group is my peer group.
Right.
And my friends had children, and I loved and adore them, but I didn't know that motherhood was something I wanted, and I always kind of wanted to be a career woman. That was what I wanted to do. And then I met Alex, who is my husband, and I adore him. And I remember when we were dating, I thought, oh, this motherhood thing doesn't sound that bad anymore, because I realized it would be a co-parent situation, not a parent situation. And so then we started what I lovingly call the negotiations, because he is number 3 of 4 from a very wonderful family that is a lot of humans in it. And so we kind of negotiated to 2 children from his 3 and my 1.
So you never said to him, like, when you were originally dating, like, okay, heads up, I don't want to have kids. Is this a deal breaker? I mean, you guys just kind of navigated.
Alex has always been extremely supportive and wanted to hear my opinion and believed in my opinion. And I said, I don't know if kids are for me. That was more of how I put it, but I'm willing to think about this. And the more I thought about it, again, it was, no, this is what I want to do.
So you get to that point where, all right, I finally want to do this. I've got the man I love. I've got the career. I've got the house. I am ready. So then what happened?
We were married for almost a year when we started to try to conceive. And that lovely acronym of TTC that I thought meant tater tot casserole the first time I saw it. I was like, what is this? There were a few things in the back of my mind as we started. I thought, this is going to be easy. This is going to happen right away. The gate. And so
because you get to that point where you're like, I've been trying to prevent so long.
Yes.
So now it's like, okay, I'm ready.
Time, come on.
Right, let's do it.
And so when it didn't happen, and it didn't happen, it was, well, what's wrong with me? And, I had started reading, and most books start off with, it could take you 3 to 6 months to conceive, but we've been so conditioned since childhood that this will happen immediately.
Right, when you want it.
Yeah, and that isn't the case. And so it was, I can't even put to words the emotions that you experience of when it doesn't happen on your time. And I was older when we started to try, and I can remember somebody at one point, like in the back of my head, I kept hearing 35, 35, 35. And that added to it. And I was watching other people become pregnant. And
what was that like? I mean, because you're human, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm jealous. I'm going to have some animosity. Like, how did it happen for you and not for me?
Yeah. It's very raw. I can remember people sharing that they became pregnant, and it wasn't some individuals, and I will speak for me and for me only. The individuals will project it, like, why them? And I was always kind of, well, what did I do that this isn't happening? What have I done that this isn't happening? And I was inconsolable. I mean, Alex is amazing and he was this wonderful rock. And we're not telling anybody, we never told anybody we were starting, and we were pretty far into it, probably 6 months before I was comfortable with telling people, but I cherry picked who those people were that we told. And so I would hear announcements, and it would probably take me anywhere from 3 to 7 days before I was like, okay, we're going to keep moving forward.
Because I remember a couple of those people, because we all worked together, and I remember even for some of us it was hard, because as much as I want to be so happy for this person, I was like, oh my God, you're pregnant. Then I would look at you and I'd be like,
I remember
Katie.
that.
I mean, I would just look at the look on your face, and I was just heartbroken for you. So
yeah, and it's been 2 years. Where I am today is different than where I was a year ago today and 2 years ago today. So 2 years ago, we would have been just starting the point of like, why isn't this happening? And last year at this time, we were actually getting some medical diagnoses. Right. And so that has actually started, I think, the healing process in some ways of...
Because it gives you a reason, you mean?
Yeah. I can remember my OB had suggested some certain testing, and I didn't really want to do it. And Alex, again, was like, you should do what you feel comfortable with. And my mom was like, wouldn't it be kind of nice to know what you're working with? And I couldn't argue that. And I thought, yeah, maybe it would be nice just to see what's going on.
And I think it's nice to know, but isn't there still this sense of betrayal? Like, and whatever spirituality you are, higher power, I mean, isn't there this, I've done it the right way, I've done everything you've asked me to do, why am I not receiving that gift?
I feel like that is maybe a conversation that some women have. Okay. And that wasn't and isn't my conversation. Okay. It was, I don't understand why you're making me wait, and I am not a patient person. She's smiling because she knows that's true. But I respect. I don't understand it. I respect it. I don't always get it. But here we are. Okay. I've never judged. It has hurt when I've heard pregnancy announcements, but I've never judged that woman, that couple, of why you and not. It's always more like, I don't get it, but I'm not supposed to get it.
Did you get all those people, and I'll say this because I was one of them, that, well, if you just go on vacation and have some margaritas, you'll get pregnant. Well, if you stand on top of your head, I mean, you must have heard all the craziest things of this can happen.
I think about the time I say I, and really it's a we situation. I'm using pronouns, but Alex is definitely a part of this. Once we started to share with people, then it was, I kind of did a reverse, because people were saying things to me and putting their own thoughts, their own belief system on me. And it was perpetuating this negativity that I was starting to try to get out of. Okay. And so people would say things from the best places. And I would want to just...
Throat punch.
Yes. That is a good word for it. And I would just, and I don't hold back, and I usually say my mind, but I kept having to say that they don't mean what they're saying.
Right.
They don't understand.
The intention is there.
Yeah, they don't understand what they're saying. You know, the one I feel that if you are going through the journey of infertility and somebody says, well, just relax, that is probably the number one that makes us all want to go, you need a VA moment. You know, relaxing is fine, but there are other medical things going on that relaxing isn't going to change.
So what about the conversation of adoption? What were you at a point where you had to have that conversation, or are you know, because I have some couples that say, if I can't have my own, I just understand that I'm not going to have a family. But then there's others like KP that said, hey, you know, this will be the way my family is created.
Something that was said recently to me and has just spoke to me, and you can hear it in what KP shares, and your other friend, I can't remember her, Amy. Adoption isn't a consolation prize, and we should never treat it that way. That is option A, no matter what.
Okay.
And when somebody said it's not a consolation prize, I was like, oh my gosh, that is so true. There are people throughout this world that is how the children come to them, and we should never treat it as that, as a consolation prize.
So are you guys thinking about adoption, or what's your...
We keep ongoing discussions.
Okay.
We have a policy.
Policies and procedures book in the Hernan household.
We made the decision that we can, if it comes to our hearts, we can discuss it whenever, but at least once a year, we need to be discussing, are we both okay where we are? So that way we're not going down a trajectory that the other one isn't happy with. Adoption, infertility is an emotional roller coaster.
I couldn't even imagine.
That I can't put words to.
Right.
And as is adoption. And I don't know that we're ready to get back on that roller coaster. And,
you know, and as Amy brought up, it's a huge undertaking. Obviously worth it in the long run, but when she and I were talking, and I don't think I mentioned this in her video, it's probably going to be upwards to about $30,000 for her to do an international adoption. That's a lot.
It is a lot, but there are a lot of phenomenal resources out there that allow you to, that give grants and scholarships and even crowdfund adoption. And so those are
some other resources.
So there are resources out there that I personally follow, that Alex and I kind of keep our eye on if this is something that we do ever entertain, that we feel is on our hearts to pursue.
Now, and what some people don't know about Katie is she's actually a counselor, therapist, social worker. So how is it, do you struggle with just being me, Katie, dealing with this, as well as, okay, I know what I'm supposed to be doing and saying, because this is what I tell other people to do. But gosh darn it, I just can't get there and be there.
At the end of the day, I'm a human. And there are days, you know, really right now, things are really good. It used to be that I had really bad days that were weeks and months, and now I have maybe moments or even blips on the radar. But there are times that, it's very hard, and I could go back to those core social work values, and I still struggle. But about the time things were the worst is when I found a support group. I didn't find them. I will firmly say that. And that's really when the healing, the medical diagnosis a few months later, and things moved upward.
Because for a while, you couldn't even really talk about this.
No.
I mean, there's times I would see you and I'd go,
don't be nice to me, Dr. Ford.
Don't be nice to me. Right. And so I'm just kind of like, okay, today's not the day. But, I mean, you're at a whole different place now where you can, so that's got to help you and other women.
Yes. So there are many different infertility support groups out there. The one that I am involved in is called Moms in the Making, and it is a faith-based organization, and there are different face-to-face support groups throughout the United States, but I participate in a virtual group where we meet twice a month, and actually we have group tomorrow, so we all dial in from wherever we are, as far as New Zealand, as close to Illinois as Ohio. So with that organization, I have chosen to be linked with prayer partners, and I have a prayer partner in Wales, and I have a prayer.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I do. Yeah, Alice, she's amazing. And then a prayer partner in Dallas as well. And we just had a conference.
I remember seeing pictures of it. I love the name of that group, Moms in the Making, because what I think people don't understand is you can still be a mom and be a nurturer and a provider without even having your own child. I mean, I feel like I've kind of been mama to people who are not even my children. And I know you do that. You have a niece.
I have nieces.
Nieces.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
My best friend has, and I have to, Heather has been my best friend since I was a little girl. She has 2 daughters, Hannah and Haley, and they are sophomore and 6th grade, and they are no genetic relationship, no married relationship, kind of. Actually, yes, but anyway, I refer to them as my nieces, and Heather has always been like, yes, you can, you just take them, and it's been amazing. And then my husband has, all of his siblings have children, and so we get to, oh, hey, Riley, do you need a night off?
Right.
I can take Kane.
Right.
So that's very nice.
So for women who are struggling through this, and because I feel like I could not give advice because I've not had this struggle. So coming from you, what would be the advice that you would share?
I think the most important thing to know is that you're not alone. We have, like I said earlier, we've kind of been conditioned that you're a female, you want to have a child, you're going to get pregnant. And that's not true. I mean, yes, we've been having babies for millennia, but what we don't talk about is that 1 in 8 individuals suffer from infertility or repeated pregnancy loss. And so this can be the most secluding thing that you can ever experience in your life. But we're out there, and there are some of us, me, who I get that you need somebody to talk to. And I shared this recently with a friend, like, we don't even have to talk. We can just sit there. We can
cry.
We can cry. We can talk. But I'm going to be positive. But I'm not going to be rough by any means. But because you're not alone. And I think when Caroline Harris, who is the founder of Moms in the Making, reached out to me, that's when I realized, oh, there's a whole community here who wants to help build you up, and for us through faith. But I'm happy to talk to any woman regardless of her situation, her faith, anything.
Because I do have a couple who have already reached out and asked about this, which is why, you know, I think this is such a great opportunity for you to kind of be this voice, because you're an excellent kind of voice.
Well, thank you.
Just through experience and emotion.
And mine started, you know, even before Moms in the Making, and Caroline reached out through Instagram, which is a great community and platform. I had a childhood friend who had experienced infertility, and I will leave it at that because it's her story. And she is who I started that communication with, and she is the one who validated my emotions, and she was the one going, Katie, it's okay that you feel that way. And then I think with her is where it really and truly started.
That's awesome. Miss Katie, Mom in the Making. I love it. Thanks for sharing. Because I know it can be very vulnerable.
Oh, yeah.
To talk about this stuff. Because I know it's taken you a while to kind of get to this point. So I totally appreciate you kind of sharing your story. And so we'll kind of see where your journey takes. Katie and I kind of have a joke because she doesn't like to be hugged.
I don't.
So I'm going to do our fake hug. I love it.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
If you are somebody who is not experiencing infertility, but you know a woman or a couple who is going through it, and you don't know what to say, that's okay. Yeah, people have said things to me in the best place possible, but one of the best responses to say to somebody is, I'm so sorry you're going through this. I don't know how to help you, but I want to help you. Please let me know how to do that. I'm here for you.
That's a good point.
And that was one of the best things I ever heard.
Be patient.
Yeah.
And give a real hug or a fake hug. I'm going to touch her now.
It's okay. She
Love
can.
you, Katie.
Loves you too.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks, my friend.
You're welcome.